Rev up your engines!
Well, Stellantis is getting ready to show their new affordable electric-made vehicle. Let's hope it's better than the piece of crap that they've already built. Guess they own Citroën too, right? And this new one is going to be called the Citroën EC3 model. I don't know what it is with these electric cars. Give them a name. Instead of ECG, ETT, ID.3. What stupid names? Give them actual names. But aside from that, here's the previous incarnation. And this is a Citroën Ami. Started out in 2020 in France. People could buy them. And they were $6,000 cars. But look at these little crappers. Look at them. They're a tiny little thing, right? Do you think Americans are going to be driving these things? Smart cars were a massive failure in the United States because they were too small. This thing is even smaller. Now, I'm assuming the new one they're talking about that they say will be out the end of 2024 will be an actual car. This is just another one of these PR stunts Stellantis is doing, right? If it's anything like the previous incarnation, we'll see what happens when you come out with it. They're making it for the European market, so I'm sure it's going to be a relatively small car. Who knows what it's actually going to be? You know, people say one thing, and then when it comes out, and the fact that they're not even mentioning the price, they kind of wonder, what is affordable, you know? Affordability is a relative thing here. Bowling says, I want to buy a new Malibu. I got an '07 Saturn. It's all rusted out in Michigan. I'm thinking about getting a new Malibu to replace it. Is a Malibu 2-liter a car worth buying? A car is just transportation to me, and I don't like trouble. Well, don't buy that Malibu then. I guess they're going to stop making them. They said they're going to stop making them. GM doesn't give a crap about gasoline sedans anymore. They want to sell SUVs and trucks, right? Those are terrible vehicles to begin with. A 2-liter engine is a terrible engine. Don't buy the car. If you really are a person who just wants a car as transportation, and you don't like trouble, get a Toyota Corolla or get a Honda Civic and drive it for 3, 4, 5, 600,000 miles. Don't buy a GM product. Their stuff is garbage these days. And you can still get a Corolla and a Civic base model at a relatively low price. The thing's going to last forever. And let's say you want something bigger, right? Get a Toyota Camry. They cost more, but they'll last just as long. Do not buy that Malibu if you value your money and you don't want trouble. Plus, as you saw, your Saturn, those are American made, it rusted out. Guess what? The Toyotas don't rust out. They have better rust proofing when they build them. My mother had a Toyota Corolla in Buffalo that was 17 years old. It still wasn't rusted. You'd never see that with an American product. Death Metal Junkie says, how easy are these Honda engines to maintain? How dependable the Honda J37 V6 engines? They've only been around about 8 years. Can you get parts on them? How good are they? All right, Honda makes excellent engines. They really don't have any problems if you maintain them, right? The only problem is Honda's living in the dinosaur days, and they make a bunch of V6 engines that still have timing belts, rubber timing belts. So you got to replace them every 100,000 miles, or the pistons hit the valves, and then you spend a fortune fixing it, right? Everybody else in the world decades ago went to timing chains that are metal that can last forever. You never do anything, right? But no. Not Hondas. That's the one problem with, if you're looking at an engine, it's got a rubber timing belt on it, it's got to be replaced every 100,000 miles. And in other cars, you don't have to think about it. Other than that, they're excellent engines. They're perfectly well made. I guess Honda was just too cheap to go to chains. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Everybody else has, but they didn't. It's just kind of a weird anomaly. All the Toyota V6 engines are timing chains. All the Nissan V6 engines have been timing chains. But for some reason, Honda makes V6s that still have rubber timing belts. You got me on that one. Well, here's one about mechanic fraud. Shane says, I watch many of your videos. I just spent $1,500 to have my Altima repaired with 92,000 miles. One was a valve cover replacement. After I left the mechanic, 3 miles away, my car started making loud noises. Bunch of white smoke, and he says, now it's the water pump. I asked about the head gasket. He said, that's fine, but this car is just old. My car was in better condition when I dropped it off. I'm at a loss. What should I do? Go to another mechanic. See what he charged you for. See if he even did the work. You drive away, 3 minutes later, your car's clanging away. The guy obviously screwed it up, or he's a crap mechanic. If the water pump was going out, he should have seen that it was going out. And $1,500 worth. The valve cover gasket is not a $1,500 job. But they didn't road test your car to see how it goes. I work on cars. I road test them, 5, 6, 7 miles. Make sure everything's working. You said you went 3 miles and then the water pump went out. Plus, you said you saw smoke. You see smoke. It's coming out of the tailpipe. That means your head gasket's blown. It would have to be tested. I wouldn't trust this guy as far as you could throw him. I would begin with go someplace else. Get the receipt of what he actually did all written down. Have the other guy look to see if he even did any of that work. But I would definitely not go back to the guy. They're supposed to road test the car when they're done. You don't road test it, you don't see what's wrong. And it's not just a coincidence that 3 miles later your car goes bluey after after the guy worked on it, if you ask me. There are very few coincidences in life. Well, we're at it again. The car manufacturers have got to the politicians. Federal transportation officials just dealt a major blow to the Massachusetts right to repair bill. And that's so you can get access, your mechanic can get access to the repair data on modern cars, right? And here's why. One of the bureaucrats, Kerry Collage, says, listen to this baloney, the Massachusetts law requires them to provide the ability to send commands to the data access, which could allow for remote manipulation of the cars. This is the NHTSA Assistant Counsel, this woman that says this, right? I'd like to see what's happening in the backroom deals, right? Or they're just plain stupid. They don't understand anything. You need information to fix cars. The manufacturers do not want to give me, an independent mechanic, or you, the person who bought the car, access to it because they want you to go to the dealer to get the car fixed where they can rip you off and charge you a fortune, right? The farmers want some big deals with companies like John Deere because they were in the same position. They couldn't even fix their own farming equipment. They'd have to bring it in, take it to them. They'd have to fix it because they're the only ones that have the information. They wouldn't hand it out, right? Obviously, the farmers' lobby is bigger than the farmers' manufacturing of the equipment because, how much of that is there? But, of course, millions and millions of Americans own cars. And those manufacturers have a bigger push with these politicians. And they keep fighting the Right to Repair Act. And they always come up with some BS excuse that, it could be dangerous. People can manipulate your car. Well, the dealerships can manipulate your car too. They don't talk about that. But it just shows what hypocrisy goes on and how these political appointees and bureaucrats don't understand anything, whether knowingly they're being bribed or they're just ignorant of the whole process. They take a technicality and say, no, we can't give this information out to people to fix the cars. Only the dealerships can have it. Like I always say, follow the money, see where the money's going. The money's going into the dealerships, fixing your car, charging you a fortune because other people can't do it. They won't give the information out. They passed this right to repair bill, and they had the same thing in New York State. They passed one, but what did they do? They said, a car repair isn't included in this, only phones and crap like that. Right? Because, of course, the car manufacturers got to the politicians. However, they did. New York State did the same thing. They said, well, this right to repair doesn't cover cars because, it's a security reason, right? Now, there's a lot more security in your phone. People bank on the phone, buy stuff, right? You don't buy things with your car. You buy the car. You don't use the car to buy things. You use your phone. So if anything is dangerous, it's the phone stuff information, right? But they allow them to give that out, but not the car stuff because the car manufacturers obviously have a bigger lobby and can control these corrupt politicians better. The United States is going bonkers over floating solar power plants. They're doing it in Jersey and some recycling of sewer water and stuff, and they're floating the panels in the water. On paper, it sounds like a good idea. You got the space, you might as well put stuff on it. But really, floating them on water, electric panels, what a stupid idea. Now, you got to deal with everything. Weather. Now, of course, they're talking about putting them on lakes, whatever. They'll freeze in the winter, right? Did they even think of that, these idiots that are designing the things, I mean, it's just unbelievable. I can see, we didn't think about the water freezing in the winter. Or if they put them in the ocean, the giant waves crashing and breaking the stupid things. The worst of both worlds would be put them on floating salt water electricity. Hey, talk about shorting the panels out, right? And the one in New Jersey. Here's what they say, and I quote, the clean power generated is enough to power 1,400 homes. Yeah, when the sun's shining. When it's not, it doesn't power anything. That's the problem with this stuff, right? We use power 24 hours a day. And here's the thing that I loved about the New Jersey one. Neither the company that installed it or the New Jersey Municipal District would say anything about how much of this costs. And of course, if you really want to use it all the time, you would have to have a battery storage system. That costs another small fortune. And of course, both the panels and the batteries wear out over time, which they never tell you the whole cost. They're not even tell you what it costs to build now. They're certainly not going to tell you what it's going to cost to keep it going over the years. Basically, it's on sustainable technology the way it is today. It's kind of ridiculous. Short lifespan. You also have batteries. Freeze, you're going to have problems. Storms, you're going to have problems. Come on now, it's only common sense. Did these people have any thinking caps on? You got something in the water. Electric panels. Guess what they're going to attract? Lightning. When a big lightning storm's coming and that lightning hits those solar panels and destroys them. Hail destroys them. The whole idea is just plain stupid. These people do not think of the end result of what they're doing. Oh, look, it makes electricity great. Let's build a bunch of them. But we won't tell the public what they cost because they're really expensive. So we'll make it look like, look, it powers 1,400 homes. It's phenomenal, right? But the cost and how they're going to break, let them worry about that later, right? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.